What is up, everybody? Hope you're doing well. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm literally covered in dog hair because our dog is getting her winter fur and she's sort of like not white, but I don't know, CCP heads would call her urine colored. So she's a Labrador basically and still a puppy, 7 months. But yeah, she's losing her hair, and as you probably know, 90% of my wardrobe is black, so that kind of sucks. So I'm basically running around all day with like a roll or whatever it's called. But yeah, anyway, before we jump into the video, and you probably could tell what this video is about because you saw the title, you saw the thumbnail. But before we jump in, I wanted to quickly show you 2 new Skinosh pieces, or 1 new piece in 2 colors basically. So this is a new belt. Took forever actually to find the buckles like this. It feels like my life goal is to find the perfect buckle. I'm pretty happy with this one. So as you probably know, if you follow Skinosh on Instagram, if you don't, I'll link it down below. But if you follow Skinosh on Instagram, you probably know that I used to have a lot of 925 silver buckles. Those are obviously a bit expensive, especially since they're all handmade, and then you have the expensive raw material, etc. So I was on the quest basically to find a stainless steel buckle that looks good, kind of unique, fits the artisanal vibes. And honestly, I've been searching for years. On and off, I tried different ones. Then I of course used the Cobra buckle, which I think is a pretty brutalist, cool vibe, but it's a different kind of vibe than a regular buckle. But I have to say, I think I found the solution. So this is, to me, the perfect buckle because it's a bit elongated here, as you can tell. Like usually it would be like sort of like a quarter, and it's a bit elongated, but then also it's pretty thick and solid. So it's a solid stainless steel buckle basically. It screams quality. It is quality. Of course it's a bit expensive, but I think it's really worth it to match the high quality leathers that I'm using. So I got like 10, I think, or 8 of those, and they come pretty shiny. So I do a bit of treatment to get an aged look, which I think suits it way better. And yeah, so this is the new belt, and I'm hoping to make this a permanent product in the shop. By the way, talking about the shop, it's currently down because I'm doing maintenance. I'm revamping the shop or the whole backend system, etc. But this might take a while. In the meanwhile, you can always contact me on Instagram if you are interested in a product. Just shoot me a DM, we can talk. But yeah, this is one of the 2 belts that is new, right? So this is the good old buffalo leather. As you can see, it's beautifully structured, and it comes in at almost a centimeter, and then I basically thin it down in sort of like half, I would say. So it's about 4 millimeters now. So perfect thickness, I would say. And if you want a thicker belt, I can obviously make it thicker. I mean, 1 centimeter is definitely way too thick, and the height is incredibly heavy. But yeah, so any design thickness works. I think this is for me the optimum because it's still flexible, but it still feels like it's a solid chunk of leather, and it is. And yeah, it has a beautiful structure, of course. And so with this one, so this is sort of like a light gray, and this is hand painted. So it's a layer of gray leather dye, and then I hand painted it with a sort of like an off-white cream kind of color, and then the mix basically comes out to this. As you can see, beautiful structure. It's also ultra long. Obviously that can be cut to the desired thickness. And then on the inside, subtle the logo. Here you can again see the beautiful texture. So this is the white one, or the gray one, I should say. And then the avant-garde heads will say, does it come in black? Of course it comes in black. This will be the black version. So this is hand dyed. So obviously the leather comes in natural, which is sort of like a brownish. So it's a bit darker than other natural leathers because the leather has been aging for a couple of years. I bought quite a huge stock, so I will definitely have enough leather for belts to come. Hopefully I'll have a reorder of the buckles soon. But yeah, it's the same buckle, solid stainless steel. Here it says stainless steel on the inside. And then we have the black leather basically. Again, ultra long. I think it's kind of cool when you have, I don't know, a regular waist. Doesn't really matter what kind of waist you have with this. And then it hangs down on your pants if you want. And then you have the beautiful texture running down your leg. Anyway, so this is a quick update. If you're interested in one, shoot me a DM or an email. We'll figure something out. But today I wanted to talk about a waist bag that I bought. And I bought a Boris Bidjan Saberi waist bag. Maybe give you a bit of context and background information. Looking at Boris waist bags, there are many different options out there, right? You have those one-sided kind of things, you have leather, cotton, all kinds of different designs. And if you really follow this channel, there is one video where I try on 2 different Boris waist bags, and they are, so one is leather and the other one is cotton. It's basically, I'll link the video down below. It's basically the video where the traveling avant-garde salesman comes to my studio and pitches me a bunch of stuff that he wants to sell me. It's always fun. But yeah, so I tried on those and my feedback was one waist bag was perfect in the back, but didn't really have a proper front panel and proper front pockets. The other one was proper on the front, had a cool pockets, cool panels, cool design, but then literally like non-existent on the back. If you are familiar with Boris waist bags, you probably know what I mean. Those are like half-baked waist bags in my opinion. And then I told him, listen, I like both, they're cool, but I would only buy if they were like combined, so you have proper front panels and proper back panels. But to my knowledge, that didn't really exist. I'm not sure, maybe I'm missing out, but I've never seen a waist bag that sort of has those features from Boris. I was like bored in my bed browsing Essence. And so for their new season, Boris launched a waist bag. And maybe this has been existing for years, I'm not sure. But it's the first time I've seen it. And so I browsed Essence and I saw the product pic where a person wears the waist bag. And I was like, okay, that's the design that I've seen for years. But I didn't obviously see the back panel. So I clicked on it and I do this for every year. I always check the waist bags to see if there's one that I absolutely like. And then I couldn't believe it. There was this waist bag with the proper back panel, the proper front panels. And so I was kind of intrigued. So the thing is, I bought quite a lot this month. So I was like, yeah, I'm not sure if I should pull the trigger or not. And then it's obviously I prefer buying used, right, for better prices. But since it's the new season, which is just launched like for winter 21, now it's like end of October. So that season definitely just launched, so no chance of getting it used. Boris waist bags are really hard to find used anyway. I was literally debating for a couple of days because obviously it's quite a bit of cash. So there's the cotton version and then there's the leather version. And obviously I always prefer leather, but 2 points. So first of all, the leather is obviously it's twice as expensive. That's number 1. Number 2 is, I don't know if I really love Boris leathers these years or these days. So when I think about a leather jacket or a waist bag from Boris, and I can probably buy the same from CCP price-wise, the Carol stuff is usually better in my opinion. Leather was definitely no way to go for me. So I thought, okay, cotton waist bag would be perfect. And long-term view for me would be Boris cotton waist bag and Carol leather waist bag. So those would be the 2 waist bags that I would buy, and then I'm good to go. So yeah, anyway, I'm rambling. I was deciding, took me like 3 days. I had it in my basket, I almost checked out, and then I closed the window, and then again. And then I thought, okay, why not just buy it, and then maybe if you don't like it that much, you can return it. So that was the plan. And then I made a couple of bigger purchases in the last days. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to watch those future videos. But since I bought the other pieces, I was pretty sure, so I wanted to cancel my order, but they shipped already. So I thought, okay, check it out, see what it looks like, and then most likely I will return it. Not my style usually to return stuff. I hate returning stuff, but obviously it's a big investment. So I thought, okay, it has to be perfect, but most likely this is not the time to make such a big purchase. And then, rambling again, sorry. Then it just arrived literally like 2 hours ago. Blown away. Throw away the packaging, invoice, etc. I'm 100% convinced. So this is, to me, a pretty perfect piece. Obviously there are some things that I would change. So, pretty big waist bag, cotton. Let me just read you the material so you get an idea if you are not familiar. So this is the waist bag model 2.1. And here are the processes. So black, obviously, it's vinyl coated and nickel pressed with 2 tons. So I was kind of skeptical with the vinyl processing because it can be a bit too shiny. And it's literally like, okay, maybe you can see it now because I have a big light shining down, but it's really hard to see. It's pretty subtle. And the material is like super thick and sturdy. And I think at least that's what it feels like with the vinyl processing and the 2 tons that pressed on it, it becomes like even sturdier. So it feels ultra strong and sturdy. And yeah, pretty amazed with this. So I threw it on once. I'm excited to see what it looks like on camera actually. Hardware is always on point, right? It's all like rare aged metal, and then exactly the same material here on the buckles. It has 4 pockets, or actually 3 pockets. So it has one huge back panel, which you can access from both sides, right? So you have 4 rear zips, high quality rear zips here in the back, and then on the other side as well. But it's one big pocket, right? Which you can access basically from both sides. Here you have the logo that we all know and love. One thing that was important to me, because it looks like a huge back panel, and I thought it would be cool to have if it could fit my iPad Pro. I'd have the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. It would be cool if it could fit in there. And then when it arrived, like the zips kind of looked a bit short, but it actually fits. So that's kind of good news for me, because I think it's quite handy because the iPad is quite big, but if you can just fit it in there, that is perfect. The downside, I would say, 2 downsides to me. So the first one is, the number one way I used to wear my Carol West bags was underneath a jacket or underneath a blazer, underneath something. And it was super handy if you have like the zips here basically on the inside that you can just open and put stuff in on both sides. This doesn't have this, and it kind of doesn't make much sense in my opinion. So you have those huge front panels. It would be so cool if there was a zip here on the inside. So there's basically just a small zip on the side, right? I'll throw it on later so you can see. But you have those small zips on the inside. So basically just you put your hands in, and then there's quite a huge pocket there. So it's still functional, but it would be cool. So it doesn't really make it practical to wear underneath a jacket or something because you can't access those pockets. So you have to kind of wear it on top. But I would say it's a different idea a bit, even though it's a West bag is a West bag, but it's a kind of a different approach to the Carol one, because this feels more like a garment, like a vest, rather than a vest bag. So it's more like a vest with bags, if that makes sense. And to me, the Carol piece is more like a bag that is used as a vest, if that makes any sense. But yeah, enough rambling. I don't know what's going on today. Sorry guys. Let me throw it on for you. So this is what it looks like when worn. I think it really fits my body well. Right, when I first saw the panels, I was like, okay, this is probably going to be a bit big. But I think like since I'm not on the smaller side of people, it fits quite well because the panels are more to the side, I guess. So one of the downsides that I forgot to mention earlier was I'm not the biggest fan of the closing mechanism, because it takes a while to put on, and I don't know, it's more like a manual kind of thing. So there's basically this thing here. So you put it in once and then you put it in twice, and then it stays on pretty well, but I don't know, it takes a bit long. But yeah, so this is the front panel. I like that it's a bit more elongated, so it feels more like a garment, like a proper vest rather than a bag. And this is what I meant with the front pockets, right? So this is the only way that you can access the front pockets. It's quite roomy in there, and it's fully lined, so it's pretty comfortable with like a cotton material. Now, I'm generally not the biggest fan of a metal zip with those kind of kangaroo pockets, or whatever you want to call them. Also with jackets, like when you have a watch on, you scratch it. So yeah, that's not the biggest thing that I like, but it's still pretty handy. What I absolutely love is the design here with the straps that overlap, and then you have the cross stitching, etc. So I think that is done super well. And the material is a bit stiff for now. It's still good. It's not too stiff, but it feels like pretty structured. Also love the sides here. It's definitely something that I think is a good design. And so you have basically the front pockets here, and then you have access to the back pocket here, and it's the same on the other side, right? So only those two zips here on the side basically give you the option to access the back panel. What I think is cool is that you can do this while wearing it, right? So you don't have to take it off if you want to put something in the back. Well, obviously it depends on what. If it's a smaller thing, then it might be difficult, but let's say I want to put my iPad in there, I probably can manage without putting it off. So overall, I think the design is executed very well. Quality feels really, really good. And yeah, this is the front. Then you have the sides here, and then the back. And I love the design of the back. I think it's cool with the straps that are overlapping, and then again with the stitching, and then the straps basically come here, wrap around, and then they're attached on the inside. So that's a really, really cool detail. Sort of gives me like those parachute kind of vibes. So yeah, quite comfortable. You can't really feel that you're wearing it, and that's obviously different with leather, right? It's more stiff and it's more structured. And I think the more I wear this, the more like flexible it will get, and then even easier to wear. So yeah, that has been the Boris westbag. I'm super, super happy with this. I know I'll always say this in this video. Obviously, I wouldn't buy the stuff if I wasn't super happy. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you think. Is this a purchase that makes sense for you? Does my plan make sense to have the cotton version of this one and then the leather CCP at some point in the future? Do you like westbags? To me, honestly, when I think about the avant-garde niche or whatever, if you think about the avant-garde niche and you have to pinpoint to one product that exemplifies the whole niche, what would it be? Would be super interesting to know. Could be a cool topic for a video. To me, it's a westbag. And that's why I thought, okay, I don't know, I've always been intrigued by the idea of a westbag. It's functional, but it looks kind of badass and it's cool, and there are many different options out there. And I'm rambling again. Sorry guys, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Cheers.